Some have suggested that we try to restore fiscal balance without raising any additional revenue from anyone, or even by cutting taxes further. To do so, though, would entail deep cuts in benefits for retirees and low-income Americans, cuts in investments in education and innovation that would hurt growth and opportunity, and cuts in defense spending that would damage our national security interests.
Okay. Do you think it's fair that, now this was Wall Street Journal's figure in an editorial this morning, which you probably saw, that the top 3% pay as much as the other 97% of taxpayers in income tax?
Well, again, I do, because, again, life's about choice and alternatives, and if they're not going to pay it, then you have to find the resources elsewhere in asking middle-class families to pay more or cutting the benefits to middle-class retirees.
Okay, and that brings me really to the third one. Is it fair that the bottom almost 50% pay no federal income tax?
As you know, Senator, because we've talked about this a lot, I don't think it's a fair description of our current tax system. Those millions of Americans pay payroll taxes.
Yes, and the payroll taxes are supposed to pay for Social Security, are they not? So there's a specific benefit allegedly resulting from the payment into the system, but the President proposes that we reduce the amount of payroll taxes paid into the system with the payroll tax holiday extension. Is that not correct?
Well, only temporarily, and of course that temporary shortfall is made up by transfers generales which automatically happen.
Right, and the 50% of the people that don't pay federal income tax then are not contributing to the general revenues that are making up for the lost payroll taxes.
The other thing is the assumption that you've made a couple of times in answering questions is that if we were to not get the revenue from raising rates on this 2% that you described, that we had no other option but to cut Medicare or those programs that benefit our retirement programs and our safety net programs. And I want to challenge you on that for a minute. The GAO last February released a report outlining duplication. They will issue a report at the end of this month on the second third of the federal government. And according to my calculations from both of those, we could save $100 billion a year eliminating duplication in the federal government. There's no proposals in this budget to actually do that. I'm very complimentary of what now OMB Director designate Jeff Lentz has done. But there's also $100 billion in fraud in Medicare and Medicaid. That's $200 billion a year. That's $2.4 trillion. So it's not right to assume that we couldn't run the federal government more efficiently and that the only option is to raise revenues.